Hello, good morning to you all. I want to say God bless you, and this is very important. The things I want to share with us today, they are extremely important. So I want each one of you to be very, very attentive on what we're going to share today because they are very important. Now, firstly, um, I want to explain about what is happening nowadays, but I want to share with you first the kind of messages that the Church of Jesus Christ is preaching. I'm deeply concerned about Africa because Nigeria has just been touched, and there is every proof that Africa is being taken over by the same people who are trying to control the world. Nigeria has just been taken, has just been put in the edge right now. Where Nigeria is in a bad place for Africa as a whole. Nigeria, as the biggest country in Africa, it's a complete danger for Africa what is happening in Nigeria because um, the United Nations and the World Economic Forum are doing their best to establish the new world order. And most people haven't come to realization of what is going on. Now, I have been talking about some of these things for some time. Now, I want to show you uh, there's a particular document I think I should share with you right now, which I'm going to start by sharing this document with you, which is very important. I want you to see this document here. I want you to see what's written in this document right in front of you. Now, if you look at this document very well, this document says the 10 points plan, the 10 points plan of the New World Order. But the original of this document is taken from Alice Bailey's 10 points plan to destroy Christianity. So that's where the original of this document is. So if you check Alice Bailey in any search engine, you'll find these documents. 10 points plan to destroy Christianity by Alice Bailey. Check it in any search engine, you will see it. I want you to read exactly what is in this document. Now, it's what the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, and even the CDC, even the WHO, they are all together in this, including the social media giants that we're talking about, and also the mainstream media. They are all for this. Even most of these platforms we use, most of them are platforms that are under the same people. Bill Gates and all the like, they are the ones sponsoring most of these platforms we are using. And so it makes it difficult for your contents to really go far. You see, contents like what I'm trying to share with you right now, they're not going to let it go far. They're not even going to let a lot of people see it. If most of the people who are seeing it now are the only people who can see it, most people will not see this content. They won't allow it to happen because they know exactly that contents like this, when you see them, you're going to rise up, be an opposition to what they are doing. And so even most Christians don't even know that there are contents like this that are existing. The reasons be because they have created a system that has brought so much economic crisis around the world and so much suffering around the world to a certain level where people are struggling just to get daily bread, struggling to get something to eat, especially in places like Africa. You see in Africa, um, things in some areas, things like data is very, very is valuable to a lot of people because a lot of people, even to get data is difficult, not to talk of food. So most of the things that the rich are talking about, most of the poor people don't think about it. And so it becomes very difficult. They have tied everything down and they were struggling to capture Africa, which is one of the greatest prayer topics I've been praying for. I've been praying for this for a very long time. these particular prayer topics, that they should not be able to get Africa. But with every sense, you can see it for yourself now. In capturing Nigeria, which is the biggest nation in Africa, then Africa is already gone. And so Africa needs to wake up. We all in Africa, we need to wake up. We need to wake up, especially Christians. Christians, please stand up. It is time. There are certain things that are out of our hands, and there are certain things that God allow us as children of God to go through. I've been preaching this for as long as I can remember, and I've been saying, as children of God, we must understand that God allows certain things to come to us because He wants those things to take us to another level where He wants us to be. And there are so many people around the world who don't believe in that. And that's exactly what I want to share today. The kind of messages that we preach, the kind of things we teach in our churches is sometimes is very, very dangerous. It causes a lot of problems because the desperacy of the world has entered the church so much that the church is concerned so much about what they will eat or what they will drink. And that is where we have a very, very big problem now. So if you look at this document, you will see how to prepare the way for the Antichrist. That is what is said here. But the normal document, like I said, is 10-point plan against to destroy Christianity. If you look at it, they have not changed the plans. They have just changed those titles to be able to suit the narrative. But I want you to see what is written there. The first plan is take God and prayer out of our educational system. Now, when we tell people that the New World Order has been here for a very long time and has been taking place for a very long time, is already here in the disguise of democracy. Democracy is one of the most dangerous things that have happened in this world. People have accepted democracy in the name of freedom. But the truth is, how many countries are free? How many people are free? Most African nations fought for their freedom. They fought for their freedom from their colonial masters. And finally, they were free. After they were free, what happened? After these countries were free, what happened? No change in this country. Nothing happened in any of these countries. Most of these countries have been free for 40, 50 years plus, and yet most of them have not changed. They have not received one change. Nothing have changed in these countries. Why? Reasons be because the colonial masters may have left, but colonialism is still going on. And so Africa has not changed. And the target wasn't really to hold Africa hostage. The target actually is the battle of Christianity. If you look at the world, like I've always said, we are still living in the ancient Rome. We are still living in the ancient Rome. And a lot of people haven't realized that we are living in that same ancient Rome that you knew. What they were doing, those kings were doing in Rome, what the Romans were doing in those days is exactly what is still happening right now. Exactly what is happening right now. If the Romans in those days will distract the people with holding these gladiators fight and gladiators games and other things and fill the stadium with people so that the people will be distracted of what is going on. Look at in most of our nations, you will hear people talking about the soccer games and all this kind of different games that is keeping people distracted. Check the social media right now. What is going on is full of jokes, 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 jokes. And all those jokes are there to distract you from the reality. While you're following those jokes, these people are walking underground. They are working underground to be able to put in these their principles into position. They are working underground. They have invaded our schools. They have invaded our job sites. They have invaded our governments. All the governments right now are under the control of the World Economic Forum, of the same people who are trying to put in place the New World Order. All governments of the world are there. That's where they find themselves right now. And so every one of you listening to me, you may not understand what is going on, but the battle is not really against the people, against the non-Christians, because non-Christians don't care about these things. Because they want to buy food, they will take the mark of the beast. Non-Christians, because they want to buy a phone, they will accept anything that the world gives them. But Christians know the truth. And so the battle is really against Christians because they are the hindrance of their agenda. And so the battle has been against Christians for a very, very long time. So this democracy is actually a battle against Christians. And that is why I explain a couple of things. Any Christians that is following the government's principle that are against the scriptures are not living a spiritual life. They are not living in obedience to God. They are living in obedience to the devil. They are living a carnal life. How can the government say you have the same authority with your husband as a wife? But the scripture says you have to submit to your husband, and the man is the head of the woman. Now, if you're a Christian, you obey what the government says. You have equal rights with the men. And that is what we see around the world. Most of our young ladies, most of our women, that's what they do. And the government have backed that with a lot of laws and a lot of principles to be able to make sure it's in effect. And if you look at these same documents of Alice Bailey, these same documents I show you, if you check it, you will see that this particular principle is part of it. This particular principle, I'm telling you, is part of those documents. Why did they do it like that? They do it like that because they are after the Christians, not because they are after anything else. No, they are after the Christians. That is why they did it like that. They are after the Christians. They are not after anybody else. They're after the Christians. They want to destroy Christianity because they want to establish their one world government, their Roman Empire. And these things have been creeping in our system for a very long time. And even right in the church, women are practicing this thing, men are practicing this thing, pastors are preaching it on the pulpit. It has gotten to a level where even the church have accepted homosexuality, which is part of this same 10 points plan of Alice Bailey to destroy Christianity. 10 points plan to destroy Christianity is the same thing. In our educational system, they said they should take authority of parents, reduce parental authority over their children. Think about that. Reducing parental authority over their children. Let me show you what it says. It says reducing parental authority over their children. Can you imagine that? Reducing parental authority over their children. How can you reduce parents' authority over their children? That is what they do. Let me show you. See what it says. This is point number 2. See what it says. Reduce parental authority over children. Now, most children in school, they teach them to think in the curriculums we have now. They teach them that they have their own right, they are their own person. They are their own person. Now, this battle is against Christianity. This battle is not really against the people of the world. It's against Christianity because Christianity teaches the value that parents must be respected by their children. And that's what did the scripture say? The scripture says that children must obey their parents. Why? So their days may be long. So they live longer. So now they are saying that they should reduce parental authority over the kids. Think about that. And this is democracy. And this is what they teach the children in school. Now, most teachers, even some Christians, are teachers, and yet they don't understand what they are doing. Most of this thing is under disguise. Why is it that Christians are doing these things and are not concerned about what is happening in the world or what is happening in the body of Christ? Why is it that Christians are doing this? The reason is because Christians don't know. Nobody tells them, nobody teaches them anything about this. Nobody teaches them anything about this. Most Christians don't know what is going on. Most Christians don't know what is happening. And so I said, most of us who are teaching some of these things, our accounts are blocked. Our accounts don't go far. Like now, I'm preaching this message to you. They will make sure that this message does not go anywhere. In most of my messages I've preached, I will see, like when I'm preaching, I will see, let me give an example, like I will see 50 people viewing my program. And then after the program, I will still see the 50. The next day, I discover it's 15 people that view the program. The next day, I discover it's 4. The next day, I discover it's 1. From 50, it comes down to 0, to 1 person who viewed the program. Why is it reducing? Why are they removing? Why are they doing that? Because they are removing people from different countries and different areas who are viewing the program. They call it shadow banning. They ban you without you knowing. And so most of you Christians who are preaching the truth and you think that your message is going through, it's not going through. They shadow ban your channel and they make sure that your channel does not go viral. Shadow banning means that the people who are supposed to see your message, who are supposed to see your program, or who are supposed to see your content are not able to see it. We don't do this for money. We do this for the job we've been called to do, to be able to educate the Christians, to sensitize the Christians for what is going on. Unfortunately, most Christians don't pay attention to ministrations like this. They pay attention to distraction. Most Christians are on TikTok and other platforms, YouTube, Facebook. They are looking for contents that are funny. They are looking for comedies. They want to watch comedies. They want to laugh. They watch comedies 1,000 times. They watch violent contents 1,000 times. So when it comes to informative messages concerning their own belief, concerning their faith, they don't pay attention to it. I want you to understand that this is dangerous time we are living in. And now it hurts me a lot because Africa now is almost being taken. Look at the president they just put in Africa. Look at that president. It's exactly the kind of person who is in America. The person who took America 2 years ago and have destroyed America to zero, have almost destroyed every country around the world. Think about it. I'm not concerned about the debts they said is accumulating for the United States. But that is also a dangerous thing because the World Economic Forum is holding Africa hostage. Why? America have their own debt and they can pay their debts in dollars. Africans have their debts. They don't have their debts in their own currency. They owe debts in dollars. Why would that be so? Africans owe debts in dollars. Americans owe debt in dollars. And for Americans to pay their debt, they just need to print more money. For Africans to pay their debts, they need to work in agriculture or they need to work on something, and they don't work on what they know how to do. They have to be able to work on what the America or these countries decide them to do in order for them to pay their debt. And you don't call that slavery? That is actually slavery. And that's exactly what Africa is living into. And the reasons be because Africa is the largest continent, Christian continent in the world. And so we are struggling. And they have been blocking all of these things to make sure Africans don't really see what is going on. For instance, like in Cameroon, the president has been there for 40 years plus. He's been there since I was born. Can you imagine that? There are a lot of people in Cameroon who don't even know that Cameroon has mines where they are mining different materials, different valuable materials from Cameroon. A lot of people don't even know that. Most people of my age don't know where the resources of Cameroon is going to. They don't know where anything in Cameroon is going to. There's no development. There's nothing happening in Cameroon. Think about that. And that's exactly what they are doing in the world. Why are they doing that? They are holding Cameroon down. There's a document I read the other day where they were saying that Cameroon might be the next valuable mining center of that Americans or the Western will come into because their eyes are in Cameroon. That Cameroon might be one of the most attractive mining center. Think about that. And yet there are a lot of people who have been born in Cameroon. They don't even know that Cameroon has mines. where they are mining different valuables in Cameroon. But this is all the game they play. They keep Africa in the dark. And it's funny because somebody asked a question, a young lady asked a question the other day, which was very important. She said, 5,000 of any African currency, of her own currency, let me use my own, 500,000 of my currency is $1,000. Why would it be so? 500,000 of my currency is $1,000. Why would it be so? 1,000 of American dollars is 500,000 of my currency. Why would it be like that when everything that America is having is coming from Africa? No matter how much economics you've done, you can understand. And that is why every African leader that is put there not because of the vote of Africans, is put there by the same World Economic Forum and United Nations. They put those same leaders there so that they can use them to keep on controlling. And any leader that rebels, they make sure that that leader dies or does not succeed in the ambition to become president. They will block him in every way or frame him up or find up anything against him. That's exactly what they do. They try to frame and destroy people. They don't want anybody who will make the nation better. They don't want it to happen. They will try to make sure they destroy everything concerning that person. I want you to understand that Africa is now in absolute danger. Look at what's happening in America. America has entered a certain level of this destruction of Christianity. They have entered a different level of this destruction of Christianity. Some of the things you will never believe are happening in America. They have satanic churches and satanic clubs going to schools to have satanic club for children. And when you ask them, they say they don't worship Satan. So why use the name Satan? They say no, they need to stand for what they believe. But you said you don't worship Satan. They are so controversial, but that is how Satan works. He comes as if he's not the one, but he is the one. And they are going after that. Why? Because they see Good News Club that are preaching to the children the gospel. And that is what Satan does. He always wants to be in competition with God. Homosexuality never started in Africa. They brought it to Africa. All of these things that are happening never started in Africa. And they are making Africa to look like the worst place on earth. Think about that. They are making Africa to look like the worst place on earth, an unbelievable place, a place you should not think anything good can come from. That's how they are making Africa to look like, a place that nothing good can come from. And then the areas in America that are dangerous, the areas that are bad, the areas that are worse than Africa, they will never show you. They never show you any of those kind of videos. They never show you any of those kind of places. Why? Because they don't want you to think that America or Europe or any of these countries has those kind of problem. They don't want to show you that. They only want to show you how bad and dangerous Africa is. The dangerous things that are happening in Africa and how Africa is in danger and how Africa is so bad. How Africa is so poor. So they'll come to Africa and go to some villages and take pictures of some poor families and poor children, and then they put it for you to see that this is what Africa looks like. And even Africans who are in America or in Europe and in different countries don't know what Africa is like. They only describe or identify Africa based on what the mainstream media show them, that this is what Africa is like. But Africa is not like that. Africa is better than what you are seeing on the mainstream media. 100 times better than that. So they are deceiving a lot of people to think that Africa has nothing good, or Africa is not better, or Africa is not developed, Africa is primitive. Some people think that Africa is a place where people live with monkey. So they try to deceive people to let people think that Africa is not developed. I wish most of these Africans who are out in America or in Europe will come to see Africa from themselves and decide to know what Africa looks like. Because if they know what Africa looks like, they will decide to come and invest in Africa, and they will decide to come and stay in Africa. And that is what these people don't want, because they don't want these people to come to Africa so that Africa can develop and Africa can go forward. Because most of the development or the contributions or the success that America has, or most of this country has, is based on the Africans that are there, based on the Africans' background. From every proof, Africans built America. Africans built most of these countries, and they are the ones who are the most contributing of all the economics of this country. And so they come to Africa and take poor pictures and pictures of forests to show them. And most of these people watch these things from the mainstream media and begin to show it and begin to show it to the people. And when they watch it from mainstream media, they begin to believe that this is what Africa is like. This is where their ancestors come from the forest. Africa is still a forest, it's still a bush. And when you come from Africa, they call you boogeyman. They call you different kind of stories. What an insult. They insult other Africans. Other Africans in these countries insult other Africans and think that they are coming from the forest. That's what they think. But these same people, they know what Africa is like. And they are trying to attack Africa because they are draining the resources of Africa. They are using the leaders of Africa. They are using the leaders of Africa to destroy Africa. That's why in Africa, there is no leader that is being used to do anything good in Africa. Look at South Africa. Since South Africa was turned to the hands of Africans, South Africa has remained the same. It's instead deteriorating instead of improving. Look at other countries in Africa. It's the same thing. Instead of improving, they are deteriorating. Why? Because the leaders are not permitted to develop Africa. They are not permitted. And that is how the system works. From Cameroon, the president has more beautiful hospitals and investment. In fact, one of the best hospitals in France is owned by President Paul Biya. But in Cameroon, there is no better hospital. Think about that. So when they are sick, they go to abroad for medical checkup. Think about that. He builds one of the best hospitals in France belongs to him. And yet, in Cameroon, where he is the president, there is no good hospitals. The hospitals are struggling. Good, beautiful products, first-class products from Cameroon are not consumed in Cameroon. They are exported to be consumed in these countries. First-class products. Think about that. And this is not actually something where we need to sit to talk about, because I know most of you know most of these things. But you will think that it is those people in power who are causing it. They are not the one. The World Economic Forum and the United Nations are absolutely in charge of all of this. They are absolutely 100% in charge of everything that is happening in most of these countries, especially what's happening in America right now. The reasons be, they are bringing in position the new world order. They're using the same social media. I showed you a video where they said very soon, data, the person who has the greatest amount of data algorithm is the person that will be able to control the world. Why? Because they're trying to create a world, a different kind of a world than the one you're living in right now. They're trying to create a world where you will not think for yourself. He said the time is coming where we will not be able to think for ourselves, because Google will know us better than we know ourselves. Most of this platform, this search engine, they will know us better than we know ourselves. And that is why if you go on Play Store right now, you will see there are a lot of AI robots now, whom if you ask them to write you a song, they'll write you a song. You ask them to write you a letter, they'll write you a letter. You ask them to write you an application, they'll write you an application. They do everything you want them to do. You ask them to tell you a joke, they'll tell you a joke. Why are they doing that? All of this information that they are giving to you, all of these things they are giving comes from the same data you are giving them. The same information you are giving them about you is the same information they are using to program this particular AI, this particular robots, to use them to work for you. And very soon you begin to believe in these robots, thinking that these robots know you better than you, because that's the narrative they are trying to bring out. They're trying to teach people to think that the robots know them more than they know themselves. And that's what they are trying to say. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Most of you think that your phone is for you. It's a lie. Your phone is not for you. That phone was given to you so they can use you, they can monitor you, they can get information about you. Most of you think you're searching Google. No, Google is searching you. Most of you think that you're using your phone. No, your phone is using you. It's all the tricks of the devil. They seem like Satan told Eve, if you eat this fruit, you're going to gain the knowledge of good and evil. But he didn't tell Eve that you're going to die, because God said you're going to die. And he told Eve, no, that's not the truth. He showed Eve what Eve would profit. He did not show Eve what Eve will lose. And that's why we find ourselves where we are today. The devil will always show you what you profit. He will never show you what you will lose. Your phone is always working. Even if it's off, the microphone is on. Whatever you're speaking, they are listening to you. Whatever you're doing when your phone is on, your camera is working at all times. They are monitoring you. That's why in your phone, there are a lot of things that they ask you to do in every particular app that you install or any program. Check even the contract of your phone. You will see what is written there. Most of the times people don't know. Like TikTok is booming now. Check the contract of TikTok. TikTok clearly says that they are taking your data. They are taking your data. It's clear that that your data is being taken. They are collecting. So it is, but most people don't read those contracts. Most people don't have time because they are busy. They want to get into the app. They want to do what they are doing. And any information they ask them, they just answer yes. Anything they ask them, they just answer yes. Anything they ask them, they just answer yes. Why? Because they are just rushing, but they are giving every information about themselves. And those are the same information that they will use to program to be used against you. So check on your Google Play Store, you'll see AI bots now, robots now, who, if you ask them to do anything for you, they will. Write me a letter, they will. Tell me a joke, they will tell you a joke. Write me a love letter, they will write you a complete love letter. Write me a contract, they'll write you a complete contract. A resignation letter, they'll write it for you. There are a lot of robots now like that. Who are those who are investing on those robots? Most of them, Bill Gates and all these people are investing in most of those robots. What is the reason? They are collecting data. Why? Because the battle is the person who has more data, more algorithm data is the person that is going to control the world. Is a person that will be the God of the world, because at that stage where you can't think for yourself anymore, Google thinks for you. Anything you want to do, you ask Google. I showed you for that video when they were explaining it to you, and they said it clearly. They told you clearly that very soon Homo sapiens will not even have a place, will not even have any value, because human will be upgraded. They told you clearly that they have the ability to hack human beings, not only hack human beings, but also hack their organs. And that is why the WHO is a very dangerous, organization in the world. They have weaponized drugs, medicine now against people. Think about like the COVID issue, the issue of COVID, how they use vaccines to almost destroy people's life. There are thousands of cases now in the court of people who have stroke and cancer and other kind of sicknesses because of after they took the vaccines. Most of these things are very dangerous. I was talking to somebody yesterday and I told them clearly, I said, listen, hospital is a business. It is a business. If you depend on hospital to take care of you, you're making a big mistake, because it is a business. It's a business. There's nobody who is doing a business who want their customer not to come back. Most of these doctors who are administering these drugs to you or prescribing these drugs to you don't know how these drugs were made, what is inside. They only read the bottles, what is written on the bottles or on the packets of the drugs. Then they prescribe it to you as to pay what kind of sickness you have. They read the packets and they prescribe it to you, but they don't know what is inside, what is the content, what it's made of. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know what the content is. They just prescribe it to you. That is how dangerous our world has gone into right now. And I'm telling you, what has happened to Nigeria now is very, very dangerous. Every kind of principle you see, this thing that happened to America 2 years ago, the kind of principles you see in America, the kind of things you see in America now is the same things you'll be seeing in Nigeria. Because what they are doing is to attack Nigeria's economy, to make sure Nigeria become economically broke, economically down, so that they can be able to break the people down, weaken them, and then take them over. That's what they are doing. That's why they decided to get such a person in position, the kind of person they can clone, the kind of person they can control. Because that kind of a man is a kind of a man that they'll be able to deceive him and tell him he's going to live forever, he's not going to die. And he loves that because he has money, and that is what he wants. He doesn't want to die. He wants to live to enjoy his money. According to what they are proving now, that they have discovered age reversing medicines and age reversing scientific programs that they are doing to reverse people's age. So when they put somebody like that, like Joe Biden, who is there, they are putting him there, and they are using his clone, and they are using other things to be able to control him. And so it's in their hands. They are using his weak points. They have his files of all his corruption and other things. They have everything about him. So everything they tell him to do is what he will do. And that's exactly what they've gotten in Nigeria right now. Heartless people are the kind of people they're going to put. Think about that. Are the kind of people they're going to put. Why? Because they want to control. The reasons be they have understood that the youths of this time know what they want and know where they want to go. Instead of them to get out of the way and leave the youths to do what they want to do, they don't want it, because if the youths take over to do what they want to do, they will not be able to have a place. They don't want to get out of the way. They will not be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish, because what they are trying to do have started hundreds of years back. And most of them here are just continuing what they started many years back. So they don't want to get out of the way. They want to accomplish it. And so that's why they are trying to put this certain kind of people that is very unbelievable. And so they have decided, they have finally captured Nigeria and put a heartless person, not because he's heartless, but because he's able to be manipulated. They has him in their pants. They don't have a heart for the people. They don't have feelings for the people. How many people die in Nigeria? They don't care. The few questions I've always asked: do you think that the United Nations does not know where these terrorists are? Do you think the government does not know where these terrorists are? Do you think American armies don't know where these terrorists are? They have fighter jets. They have all kind of, they could sort Osama bin Laden. The moment Trump entered, said, we'll search, we'll get him out. They went and got Osama bin Laden. They found out, they got him where he was, and they pulled him out. Do you think they can get these terrorists? They can, but they don't want to, because these terrorists are sponsored by them, because they can only dominate when there is crisis. That is a Roman system. That's the Roman Empire system. When there is crisis, that's when they dominate. That's when they have power. That's exactly what is going on. So they allow these terrorists in African countries, in Nigeria and in other countries, and in Cameroon and other countries. They allow these terrorists to do what they are doing, because that is what keeps them in power. If there is no crisis, the people will think straight. The people will think right. But when there is crisis, the people will be caught up and distracted with the crisis and will not realize what is going on. That's why you see what is happening around the world. Too many crises. Why? They discover that people are beginning to think. People are beginning to understand what is going on. And so they decided to bring most of this crisis around the world is sponsored by them. How many planes are landing in Cameroon in the night? How many planes are landing in Africa, different African countries in the night, to be able to lift arms, to drop arms to most of these terrorist group, to be able to drop money, drop aid for them? In the night, most of these things happen. You think they don't know where these terrorists are? They do know. They know exactly where they are. If they want to bomb them, they want to nuke them, they want to do whatever, they will do it in one day. They will eliminate all of these terrorists, but they don't want to, because this is actually their weapons. These are actually their weapons. They actually their platform that keeps them in power. So they don't want people to think straight. Look, now they have put in that man there because they want more crisis. And more crisis in Nigeria brings more poverty. More poverty, what happened? The people are destabilized. And more destabilization, they come in with aid. That's exactly what they do. They cause the destabilization, then they bring in the aid. That's what they do. Look at Nigeria is almost being taken over by Islamic group, by terrorist group. So they decided to put, who did they put there? Part of the terrorists is who they have put in there. Part of the terrorists, the same man who is part of those terrorist group is the person they have put in there. That's the person they have put in there to give terrorists a chance to take over. That is what they have done. So most people don't understand, and Christians should know. Churches should stop doing the kind of things they are doing. It's time we teach people the right thing. You see, Jesus brought a message, which is a message of the kingdom, which is what we are supposed to preach. The world is advancing, the devil is advancing and taking coast and taking coast. And we are busy trying to build empire for ourselves. And most of our Christians don't even know the God they serve. Reasons be because we don't teach them about the God they serve. We are busy teaching them about what God can do, what God is going to do, what God has done, what God will do for them, and what God is doing. Those are all the things we teach them. But who is the God? There are millions of Christians in different churches around the world. Now, millions who don't know the God they serve. And that's why I explained, I said, a lot of Christians are serving an illusional God, a God they imagine in their head, that an old man with white beards is sitting on a certain throne somewhere in heaven, an old man with white beard sitting on a certain throne somewhere in heaven. They think that that is the God that they serve. They don't really know the God that they serve. And so that is a big problem. I want you to watch this video. I wanted to show you. I want you to watch it and then tell me what you see in this video and how you feel. What do you think did happen here? Like right where it is now. If they ask you a question, what did Jesus do? If you're a Christian, what did Jesus really do? What did he do? That's a question I can ask you. What did he really do? Because most people can't answer this. What did he do? And it's exactly what they will tell you that you are doing. That's exactly. When you believe in God and you're seeking God, the government rules. These rules that are actually against them. I've shown you a couple of them from their documents. I've shown you a couple of these ones. It's actually against Christianity. That is their battle. Their battle is not against anything. It's about Christianity. They want to destroy Christianity. So they put rules that will make Christians to break the law. When Christians break the law, they call them rebellious. They said they have breakthrough. One of the things that have puzzled me so much is
at the cross I bow my knee,
those
where
laws
your blood was shed for. There's no greater love
how
than
terrible can people think that such laws can govern a
you
nation?
have overcome the
Every
grave.
certain laws
Glory fills the
govern
highest
everyone,
place.
and those
What can
laws are
separate
humanitarian
me
laws. They are not
now?
materialist. Those laws just have condemned a lot of innocent people. Those laws have destroyed a lot of people. The church is based on carnal laws. It's not based on reality. It's not based on who people are. It's not based on
You
who people are. It's
go
based on whatever they
before
want. What they
me.
think is
You shield my
and that is where we need to have
way.
as people understand that
Your
this is how we are
hand
going. We are going to stop
upholds me.
and
And I
because
know you love me. At the cross I bow my knee, where your blood was shed for me. There's no greater love than you have overcome the grave. Glory fills the highest place. What can separate me now?
for that question. Why were they really persecuting or beating Jesus that much? What did he do? He break the law. What kind of a law? Why was the law there? The law was there because they wanted to destroy Christianity. That's the reason they put those laws. That's the reason they put those laws to do what? To destroy Christianity. And most people don't know that. Most of the laws that are in our government now, most of the laws that are in position now, are the same laws that are there to destroy Christianity. Those are the same laws they are putting. Like I've showed you a couple. Now I want you to look at this one. Look at this particular law that they put. Number 3, destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure or the traditional Christian family structure. Think about that. That's number 3 law on 10 points plan to destroy Christianity. That's the number 3 point. Destroy the Judeo family, Christian family structure. What is the Judeo Christian family structure? Man, woman, and children. That is family. But now, what have they decided to do? They have decided to make it a man and a man can have a family. Think about that. A man and a man can have a family. Is that right? Is that real? Say a man and a man can have a family. Read what is written there. Destroy the Judeo Christian family structure. And the person who wrote it said, and she said, it is impressive and that the family is the core of the nation. If you break the family, you break the nation. Liberate the people from the confine of this structure. Think about that. If you break the family, you break the structure. That is their principle. That is their thought. So they want to break the family because they know Christianity is building family. And nations are being built by family. And so when you are able to have strong families, you will have a strong nation. And when you have a strong nation, is impenetrable. It's impenetrable. So they don't want that. They want a nation that is easy to penetrate. And that's why they are bringing all of this confusion and all of this disruption. Look at America. They put Joe Biden there so that he can destroy families. He can destroy families. Why are they destroying families? So that they will be able to penetrate into family. That's why Joe Biden is there, to destroy families. That's his job. He is there so that families will be destroyed. Why do you think they are putting this old man in Nigeria? So that they will use him to destroy family. Because he doesn't even think for himself. That man can sit up for 30 minutes, he will start sleeping. He can sit up for 10 minutes, he starts sleeping. That's exactly what is happening in Cameroon. He can't think for himself. And they are using them to do what? to destroy families. Why? Because families are the core values of nations. Since the president of the United States came into power 2 years ago, he has caused more destruction than 10 presidents of the United States have caused. More than 10. More destruction in families, more destruction in the structure of unity. But he ran upon lies, upon lies, upon lies. He has complete record of lies, which is obvious to anybody, to everybody. But why can't he be removed? Because the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the strong power, WHO, all the strong powers are behind him. Why? Because they want to use this to introduce the totalitarian system. They want to introduce their one world government system. So no matter what is happening, they have infiltrated every system, infiltrated even the armed force system. They have infiltrated the FBI, the CIA, everything, the armed forces, everything they have infiltrated. Why? They are bringing demonic ideologies. Right now in the United States, Satan is worshipped openly. In fact, Satan's how do they call it? Satan's emblem, or what do we call it? Satan's structure is put in the square, in the middle of cities. Satan's structure. And they are fighting for Satan's good news club, Satan's club for children after school. Think about that. All those things are coming into the place because the devil is in charge. The real people who are doing this are behind the scene. They run the banks, they run the monies, they are doing everything, and they are working in different ways. Working in different ways. Nobody will tell you this, but let me explain this to you. The Large Hadron Collider in CN is causing most of the earthquakes and the destruction you see. Most of these earthquakes you see and floods are caused by the same people. All of these crises are to distract the people so that they can be able to, they will not be able to focus on what they are trying to do. I said this when they were launching this particular thing again, that year, last year when they were launching it, I said it clearly. It's going to cause earthquake and a lot of things because most people are even scared it's going to cause black holes that can even swallow the earth. And listen, they don't listen to that. They say, no, it will never. But they will never accept that it's in charge of the earthquakes, the breaking of Africa, and the destruction. All of these things are based on that particular thing that you see. And it's making the earth never to be in the same position. The earth is changing. The earth is changing and is shaking in different positions. Most people don't understand because we are living in the illusion of time. Yet we don't know what is going on. We don't understand what is going on. We are living in the illusion of time. God who created the world never created the world in time, never put time. There is no time in God's calendar. God talks about the sunrise and the sunset. There is no time in God's calendar. So we brought time into position. We humans brought time. But from creation, time was not in God's calendar at all. We brought time. And that's the illusion we live in, the illusion of time, which limits us to certain things. If you really step to the reality of creation, 1 + 1 is not 2. Most people don't understand that. 1 + 1 is not 2. That's not how it is in God's calendar. 1 + 1 is beyond. Is beyond everything you can see, beyond anything you can say. 1 + 1 can still turn into everything. There is no 1 + 1. There is just one. There is just one thing. And most people don't really understand most of these things because we live in the illusion of time. That's what we live in. Time is an illusion. That's what people don't understand. For instance, if you look at a fan, maybe a fan that is spinning in front of you, when it's spinning in a high speed, a very, very high speed, you might never even see the blades. You will not see the blades. You only see something that is spinning. Somebody who comes in can't identify the structure of the blades in the fan that is spinning. Why? Because of the speed. You see, time is what we think that controls us. It's an illusion, but time is in eternity. Time does not exist, actually. It's an illusion. And most of these people are talking about, they know exactly what I'm telling you about. And that is why there are several times, if you look at your clock, there are several times where we have skipped time. Several times. I remember the other day where I was, I think that was last year, within last year or beginning of this year. We skip about 3 hours of the time. But most people didn't realize that about 3 hours of a time on one day was skipped out. But most people don't understand how those things happen. Except you live by the Spirit, you won't know what is going on. Most of the time now, what they do is they adjust the time. Because we live in the illusion of time, we don't know what is happening. We don't know the adjustment they are making. But they know exactly what is going on. They know exactly how they handle these things, because of the discoveries that they have made, which they are hiding. So funny, they call a lot of things top secrets. They are all lies. They are all pretense, because they are things they are using as weapons against you. So these particular points that they put these documents in front of you. Right in front of you, these documents are there. Who can read these documents and accept it? Say, destroy family. You read these documents and you allow these documents to be in your governments. Your government put laws that are there to destroy families. Think about it. Family is made up of a man, a woman, and children. And now they decide a man and a man can have a family, a woman and a woman can have a family. What a destructive idea. What a destructive idea. If you destroy the family, you're able to destroy the nation, because it is strong families that make strong nation. Think about that. So listen to what Alice Bailey wrote in her own point A, number 1. Promote homosexuality. Do you understand? Promote homosexuals. Did you understand what that means? Is that not what the president of America is doing? He's promoting gay, putting them in position, giving them prominent position in the government. Right now in the United States, they are struggling to reform the military. Why? Because they want those homosexuality in the military to be obvious. In fact, it should be part of the law. Think about that. Not that there were no homosexuals in the military, but now they want to take it to another level, because their plan is to destroy. It's a free young people from the concept of premarital sex. Let them have free sex. Lift it so high that the joy of enjoying it, that means sex, is the highest joy in life. Fantasize it, that everybody will feel proud to be seen to be sexually active, even those outside of marriage. Think about that. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Most of our young children today, that's where they take pride. That's where it's going. That's where everything is going, because parents now are not permitted to groom their children rightly the way God wants. Why? These laws have been put in position in disguise, but these documents have been in the plain sight for so many years, and so you can't take them to court, because they'll tell you this document was there. It's been there, but most people don't find it. They don't find it. But what is this attack against? Against Christianity. Christianity is what is building the nations. Christianity is what is building the nations and giving the nations real value, giving the families real value, building families and giving them real value. And so that is what they attack. They attack Christianity. They attack the nations. Think about that. They should promote homosexuality. and make sexual feelings. Let it bring the joy and promote it. So everybody will have the joy of doing it and will be proud. Think about that. That is what is happening in our nation. That's what is happening everywhere around us. That's what is going on right now around the world. Think about it. And I'm trying to talk to Christians. It's time to wake up and understand that it's time to really serve God in spirit and in truth, because everything is going wrong right now. And it is time to prove to you. It's time you are supposed to see every sign and every proof to know that that time is near. Every sign and every proof to know that that time to persecute Christians is near. In America, a lot of pastors are in jail right now. A lot of pastors are in jail as I'm talking to you. So many pastors are in jail. Why are they in jail? They are in jail because they stood for the things of God. And standing for the things of God actually means that they are breaking the law. That is what it is. If you stand for the things of God, they will say you are breaking the law. That's what they will say. You're breaking the law. They'll say you're breaking the law. I want you to wake up as a Christian in reality and understand that that time is here when they'll start killing, they'll start persecuting most people and putting them in jail. Jesus said it clearly. We should stop all these things we are doing of preaching about what God can do, what God is going to do, what God is about to do. We need to start teaching people to know God. A lot of people are running to church because they have a problem. And they think that God is there to give them food, give them a job. That's why they're in church. And that's why they go to churches where the pastors are talking about what is God is going to do, what God can do. All those people are all over the internet, all over Facebook, all over everywhere, TikTok. They are there preaching this kind of messages. All those prophets are there preaching this kind of messages. These are the kind that the Bible said they went out of us. Yes, the Antichrist spirits out there, and many of them are there. Say they left us because they didn't belong to us. What they are teaching, they are not teaching people about God, who God is. They are teaching what God can do. And so most people who has problem with all of this difficulty and the crisis that are created by these evil people is changing the message of the pastors on the pulpit and making a lot of people running to church and not to God. And most of these people are in church because they think God, you have been preaching and saying God is going to do a miracle for them. God is going to give them this. That's why they're in church. They are not actually in church because they really want to know the God you're talking about. And most ministers have never taught their Christians the God they're talking about. We have only talked to our Christians about maybe God when we preach a message of salvation. Out of that, we've never really taught them who God is, the God we are serving, the God we are talking about. They don't know him. They only know what he can do, what he's going to do, what he's about to do, what he's capable of doing. That's all they know. They really don't know him, the same God himself. They don't know. The same God whom they are saying is going to do this thing for them. They don't know him. They don't know this God. And we need to start teaching them about this God because that is the message of the kingdom that Jesus says we should preach. The message of the kingdom. And Jesus said, until this message of the kingdom is reaching every nations and all the corners of the earth, the end will not come. We need to preach the message of the kingdom. We are holding the end. We are holding Christ from coming. We are holding back rapture because we are preaching the opposite. We are preaching religious message. Religion is a business. And we are preaching these messages because it put money in our pocket, because these messages helps us to become popular. These messages helps us to drive good cars. These messages help us to build good houses and live in good condition. That's why we are preaching them. We need to step into the truth and teach the people. Let them know God. They need to know God. Apostle Paul, in all his preaching and ministration, he said, that I may know him, that I may know him in the power of his resurrection, plus the fellowship of his suffering. When you begin to know God, you understand that suffering is part of the God you know. Suffering is part of the God you know. When we talk about persecution of Christians, the persecution of Christians is coming and is already started. And so many Christians will find themselves in that same position. So many Christians will find themselves in that same position. All that has been happening all over. Yes, that is persecution. But the real persecution that is we are being persecuted by the government, legal persecution is coming. It's coming. They have used all the terrorists to persecute the Christian, used the Muslim terrorists to persecute the Christians in different ways. The time is coming where it will become legal. And that is the reason they are putting all of these laws. That's the reason they had the president of America there to do what? To have legal right to persecute Christianity. So by his 10, before his 10 finish, he would have put in certain kind of laws and set certain things in the mind of the people to believe that Christianity is a problem. Right now in America, if you say transgender is wrong or you talk against any transgender, if I saw a video where a man who says he's a woman was trying to beat an old mother, an old woman, because the woman did not want to talk to him or did not like him, and he wanted to beat up the woman, an old mother. They themselves have said transgenderism is a sickness. It's a sickness. If it was a gender, then why do they call it transgender? If it was a gender, why are they bothered about it? A woman will never go out and say, call me a woman. You must call me a woman. A man will never go out and say, you must call me a man. Nobody does that. But they go out and say, you must call me transgender. You must call me a woman. You must call me this. What is all that for? If you are confident that who you are is who you are, whatever they call you doesn't matter. But this is to let you understand how Satan works. He's trying to imprint his ideology in the minds of the people. That's how he works. And before that man's tenure finished, he would have been able to put this in the minds of the people and raise a lot of demonic people and raise a lot of people with problems who will be warring against the truth, who will be warring against the right of family, warring against the right of nations. He will raise them. Why? Because that's why he's there. And that's the same thing that they have tried to do in Nigeria. That's the same thing they have done in Nigeria. And the pastors there, a lot of pastors who are in Nigeria. Nigeria has some of the biggest churches in the world. Some of the biggest churches in the world. And they allow these things to happen in Nigeria. Africa is the same. Cameroon is the same. In Africa, it's a norm. In Africa, they are now putting those same kind of people in this system. Why? Because they want to put this system in place. They'll be signing different kind of laws that most people don't even know. Like in Africa, people don't really care about some of the laws that are being signed. People don't care about. Most people don't care about some of the laws that are being signed in Africa. And most of these laws will be signed in Africa, and most people will be listening, will be trying. When you are against these things, you won't even know you are against the law. That's why they put those kind of people there. So I'm trying to talk to Christians. Every Christian that is listening to me, it's time for you to know God, the God you're serving. It's not time for you to only know what he can do. A lot of people know what God can do. They really don't know the God we are talking about. And so most Christians who don't understand what persecution is about, or when the Bible talks about persecution, I want you to see this. Now, these are Christians of old that are being persecuted. Now, I want you to understand a couple of things. This video, in me downloading this video, they refused to give me the sound because what Apostle Peter was saying, he was saying the truth, and they don't want you to listen to those truths. Like this message, that most of my messages I preach, if you get to my messages, they have cut a lot of places, they mute a lot of places. Most of ministers who are preaching the truth, like Pastor Chris, most of his messages, they will mute a lot of part of his messages. They will cut a lot of part of his messages. Why? Because they don't want those kind of messages, because it's against their ideology. It's against the one world order. Look at these Christians. Apostle Peter was encouraging them here, and they don't want you to hear what Apostle Peter was saying. So anytime you go to download this video, they will not give you the sound. They will not give you the sound because they don't want you to hear what he was saying. Now, my question is, what do you think these Christians were persecuted for? They were persecuted because they break the law. What was the law? I showed you one of the law, which says, destroy Judeo-Christian families. Why? Because when a family is strong, a nation is strong. So they don't want the family to be strong, and they don't want the nation to be strong. So they want to destroy the Judeo-Christian family. How did they say they want to destroy it? I showed you on that document that they wrote, the 10-point plan to destroy Christianity. I show you that document. It says that they should encourage homosexuality, and that is why today a man and a man can make a family, a woman and a woman can make family. They also said encourage sexual activity so much that people will become proud to be sexually active, and the joy of it will become something that everybody wants. And when we see these things happening, we think they are the norm. Maybe it's the generation. Some people call it civilization. It's not civilization. These things are put in there. They are implanted in our minds through our government, from the United Nations, from the World Economic Forum, from these demonic people, these demonic entities. They are the ones who are putting these ideas in people's head. They are planting it through our governments. Look at what the president that put in America 2 years ago have destroyed America. Homosexuality is everywhere. Now they do drag queen shows in churches. Drag queen, I showed you here in one of the videos. Some of them are pastors. They do shows for children. They go to library and read homosexual books. They are establishing pedophilia, whom even Putin of Russia is condemning. Establishing pedophilia, where a grown man can have sex with a child, and they say it is minor attracted people. They are attracted to minors. What an insult! Look at these Christians that were being killed. Why were they being killed? What did they do? Because they break the law. Whose law? The law of the land. And that law was because it was against Christians. Were they caught together? No. In America, they are catching pastors, arresting pastors, and putting them in jail one after the other by the government. We've had persecutions in the body of Christ, not from the government, but the time has come because of the laws that the government has put. The time has come where persecution of the church is going to come from the government. Why? Because the Christians are going to be breaking the law, because those laws are put purposely so Christians can be arrested and put in jail. According to them, is just. They think it's a justifiable means to put Christian in jail. That's why they are going to put those laws like this homosexual issue. Like I told you, I saw a video where a homosexual man, a man who called himself a woman, was beating an old mother. Beating an old mother because the old mother did not like that he is transgender. The old mother could air her mind, and this man was beating that old woman. Think about it. They don't have any respect for humanity. In all of these things they are putting, there's no human sympathy or human feeling. The video I showed you, they tell you in the time, few years to come, Homo sapiens will no longer exist because human being will be upgraded. And that's what they are trying to do. They are trying to take you away from your humanity to another level of creature that you are not. That is what they are trying to do in Nigeria. The man that is there is a remote control, is a control for them that they can control with remote. So he's going to be signing laws that has a lot to destroy Nigeria. They know that Nigeria is a superpower rising. They want to destroy Nigeria economy, destabilize Nigeria so that people become destabilized and depend on them. All these Christians you see here were arrested individually. They only met together in jail, and they were about to be killed together by the law. So you don't think that they'll come and arrest all of you as Christians in your church. No, they'll arrest everybody as an individual. You break the law in your home. If you stand as a child of God in your home, they're going to send police to come and arrest you. People like us, some of us, if you don't see us anymore, know that we are no longer there, because most of our videos, like I told you, this social media you see, that most of you are using and are depending on, are controlled by the same people. I've explained to you from the beginning I started. There are robots now that can write you a message, can write you love letter, write you an essay, write you application letter, write you resignation letter. All those robots are being prepared. What are they using? They are using your data. It's your data they are using. All those robots, who are those who are sponsoring them? The Bill Gates and all the rich people or World Economic Forum, they sponsor most of these apps you see, and most of these softwares you see. They know everything that is going on. That's why messages like this, they won't allow it for people to watch. They won't allow it to go far. They will shadow ban it. They will never ban me openly to tell me they have stopped my video, they have blocked me because of a reason. No, they will shadow ban me and make sure my message. I remember a message I preached last year. I got a message. I got a mail from Facebook that said this message has been banned from reaching 70 countries in the world. Why? Because they don't want those people in those countries to understand what is going on. Like the documents I just showed you is in the internet. It's in every search engine you can find. But not many Christians don't know. Many Christians have not found the documents. And those documents are the things that they use, which the World Economic Forum and the United Nations are using to put what we call democracy. Democracy is all a lie. It's a weapon against Christianity, against families, a weapon against nations. It's all a lie. Democracy is a pretense to destroy nations. Democracy says it gives you freedom. How many African countries, since they got their freedom from colonial masters, have changed? 40 years, 50 years, they are still in the same place because it is not freedom. Democracy is not freedom. Democracy is destruction of nations. That is exactly what it is. Democracy says a man and a woman have a right authority. How much that is going to destroy families? Why do you think a lot of people don't get married now? Why do you think a lot of divorce are on now? Because of democracy. And they call it freedom. It is not freedom, it's destruction. If there's any of you out there thinking that you believe in democracy, if especially Christian, you believe in what democracy is doing and you believe in that freedom, is a lie. That is not freedom. That is destruction. That is complete destruction. That is not democracy. And I'm talking to Christian. Any Christian who is believing what the law, this kind of laws they are putting. I read you from that document. Law number 1, take God out of school and take God and prayer out of educational system. And that is happening. In most of your jobs, they don't permit you to pray. Most of your companies you work in, you can pray, you can do the things of God, you can sing. You can't even have time to study your Bible at job site. Most of the companies you work in, it doesn't happen. Most of the schools you go into, they don't allow prayer anymore. Why? Democracy. That is what democracy does. And you say it is freedom. It's not freedom. They call it freedom of religion. It's a lie. Freedom of religion. Muslims are killing Christians. There are a lot of terrorists up and down. I ask you a question. Do you think that America cannot find those terrorists? Do you think that these nations can't find those terrorists where they are? They sought out Osama bin Laden in few months. They could pick him where he was sleeping. Do you think they don't know where those terrorists are? They know. Why can't they take them out? The terrorists who are kidnapping people in different countries, kidnapping school children in Nigeria, where are they hiding? Satellite can pick them wherever they are. Through satellite, you can see them. If they want to destroy them, they can destroy them. But they will not, because those are their arms. Those terrorists are their weapons, which they use to bring fear in the nations. They used to bring fear. When they bring fear in nations, then they can control the nations. They bring fear. They bring destabilization. They destabilize nation. They distract you. That's what they do. They cause distraction. They bring destabilization. Why? So that you will be able to listen to them. When they bring destabilization, then they bring aid. They bring aid as if they are helping. They are not helping at all. They are not helping. I have told you, including the WHO, hospitals is a business. A child of God believe in divine healing. Hospital is a business. Listen, they are not there to make you feel better. They are not there to make you get well forever. No, it's a business. No business wants their customer to go and don't come back. No business wants that. As long as it's a business, that is what it will remain. The doctors who are prescribing you the drugs or administering you the drugs don't know what those drugs are made of. They only read what is in the bottle or in the package. They don't know what is inside. They don't know anything that is inside. The doctors don't know anything. They don't know what the drugs are made of. The only people who know are the pharmaceutical industry, the scientists who are there. And all those scientists are people who are down for the New World Order. That is why they can use vaccine to destroy nations. They can use vaccines to cause diseases. They can use different means to cause destruction in the world. Why are they doing that? Because they want to control the world. They are causing destabilization to bring control. And most people don't know that. And we are down saying, oh, if the United Nations could, like they were talking about the issue in Cameroon, if the United Nations can hear this, if they can decide what they can do, and it's a lie, they will never do it. They will never. They have a plan to destabilize families and destabilize nations. Why? They want to have the one world order. They want to have one world rule. That's exactly what they want. In few years to come, maybe in 2025, if Christ tarry, you will see what will happen. They will start dividing the nations. That's what they'll start doing. They'll start dividing the nations. They'll come to a country like South Africa, they divide it into parts, like in 4 parts. They know exactly what they are doing. They would begin to divide different countries. That's what they will begin to do in few years to come. Why? They are trying to divide it so they'll be able to control the people in their different areas. Why? They will tell you that you can't move from this area you've been sent to another area. You can't move. Why can't you move? They'll tell you that you have only 10 days in a year to move to go to that area. 10 days in a year. So you can only go once and come back, maybe 10 days. That's all. They are planning serious things to destroy. And a lot of people don't know, a lot of Christians don't understand. And all of these rules are put against Christians. If you're a Christian, listen to me, they're after you. All those laws that they are putting now are after you, are against Christians. And they will lawfully arrest you because you break the law, because you obey God. But remember, the apostles asked the leaders of the Roman leaders, the apostle asked them and said, should we obey you or should we obey God? You need to understand, the Bible says God have given us a spirit of boldness, of sound mind and of courage, and not a spirit of fear. So you need to understand that spirit of God that you have is a spirit of boldness, not a spirit of fear. If you believe in God, you need to stand. And that's why I'm calling for the church to preach the right gospel. Teach people to know God. That is a gospel of the kingdom. Stop trying to tell them to know what God can do, what is capable of doing, what is going to do, and what is about to do. That is not the gospel of the kingdom. That is a religious message. Teach people the gospel of the kingdom, which is teaching them to know the God that they are serving, the God they are talking about. When they know the God, let me explain something to you. They'll have peace. When they know this God, they will have understanding with this God. When they know this God, they will not hurry about anything that they are looking for. Jesus himself said a couple of things about that. Like in Matthew chapter 6, he said, don't worry what you shall eat or drink or what you shall wear. Say, listen, your Father knows that you need them. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Every other thing will be added unto you. But most people go to church today to seek what God has to give. They don't go to church to seek God. And most ministers are helping that because they need a congregation and they're benefiting from that. I'm saying this again, please. Ministers, change your message. Preach the gospel of the kingdom. Bring the people in the kingdom. Let them know the God they serve. Let them know the God they serve. The children of Israel never entered the promised land, the ones who left Egypt, for one reason, because they didn't know this God. They were only relying on this God, on his provision. They didn't want to have a relationship with him. And God called them stiff-necked people because of what? They were always asking. They think God was just there to provide for them. And God felt bad about it. And he called them stiff-necked people. They have angered him. Why? They were always asking from him, asking. They think that's the reason he's there. He didn't really deliver them from Egypt because he wanted to provide for them. He delivered them from Egypt because he wanted to be their God. He wants a relationship. The provision he has for them, he already put it in the land where they are supposed to dwell in. The land flowed with milk and honey. Listen, Jesus did not die for you to get food, to get a job, or to get blessings, or to get money. Jesus died for you to have a relationship with God. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, if you go to verse 19, 18 and 19, it says, God was in Christ, reconciling the world to himself, no longer counting men's sin against them, but blotting them out. He has given unto us, he has ordained unto us the same ministry of reconciliation. So we need to go out reconciling people back to God. They need to know this God. They need to have a relationship with him. A child that is birthed by his mother does not have a relationship with his mother, does not know his mother, and only hears about what his mother provides, what his mother can provide, what his mother is going to provide, what his mother. It doesn't help the child. It doesn't help the child. But the most important thing for a child is to have a relationship with his mother, is to have a relationship with his father. Every child that is born, that's the most important thing. But that is what these people don't want you to have. They put all the laws to be able to separate you, because if they are able to make you become an individual of your own, what is going to happen is that's when they can control you. They are able to break your family and everybody stand on their own side. That's when they are going to control you. And they are doing that with all the help of all of these political leaders. They have gathered money, put most of the countries in debts. Most of these countries are owing them debts, and so they can use that to control these countries, including Africa. Africa that owns half of the resources of the world. Africa owns half of the resources of the world, and yet Africa is called a third world nation. Africa is called a suffering nation. That's what Africa is called. And because we have leaders who don't see, we have leaders who don't hear, we have leaders who are blind. We have political leaders who are there for political careers. They are not really there to serve the people. They are not really leaders. They are just politicians. Politicians are not leaders. Politicians are not leaders. If you want to see a true leader, Donald Trump was a true leader. All these ones are politicians with political careers. Most of these ones you see, they are politicians with political careers. They are not leaders. Donald Trump was a true leader. When he was there, he was concerned was the people. Was the people. He never took salary. He gave out to the people, and he was concerned that every nation should take care of themselves. When he was there, Africa rose up. When he was there, he was trying to restore Africa. In one term, he brought a lot of peace in the nations around the world. In one term, he brought a lot of joy. He restored a lot of things. In one term, 4 years. And you see how much they fight him, and they're fighting him to today. Who are those who are fighting him? The same people who are after you. They are after you. And they own all the mainstream media. They own most of these platforms you see. All of these platforms. They own Google. They own everything. They control everything. That's why this message I'm preaching is not going to go far, because they're going to block it. They're going to shadow ban it. But because they are so ashamed, they will not be able to openly say it. They'll shadow ban it. They will go and hide at the back and begin to shadow ban it. They make sure people don't see it, people don't hear it. Most of my videos are there. I see what they do with the videos. A video will have 50 views. Tomorrow you come back is 15. The next day you come back is 5. The next day you come back is 1. Why are they doing that? Because they are blocking the amount of people who view my video. Now they are blocking them from viewing the next one. They don't want them to see the next video. That's exactly what they're doing. They're reducing the amount of people who are watching my videos because they don't want them to know these things. Why? They take authority. They are working for people. They are working for those people who are trying to put the New World Order, the New World ideology, say they believe in science. And that's what the Satanic Church is doing. If these people can't think and understand for themselves, Satanic Church says they are not teaching Satan. What they are teaching is science. They are teaching people to understand how to stand for themselves and to understand that science is the best, because science is Satan. Science is satanic, and science will teach you about you, but will never teach you about God. But if you are listening to me right now, I want you to understand one thing. Your body is not you. Science knows your body, but science doesn't know you. It doesn't matter what color of body you are inside. You're working on Facebook, working on Twitter, working on Instagram, working on TikTok, whatever platform you're working on. You are working in Google or whatever platform, and they're leading you. You're working on any mainstream media. They are using you to do all of this rubbish. Hear me very well. Your body is not you. Science may tell you everything about your body, but your body is not you. You live in your body. I can prove it to you. Because you say this is your hand. You say this is your eye. This is your ear. This is your mouth. Let me ask you a question. If I go to the shop, I buy a pen for myself, like I have this earpiece. And if you ask me, I say, this is my earpiece. Does it mean that this earpiece is me? I tell you, it's my earpiece. Does it mean that it is me? No, the earpiece is not me. It's my earpiece. Hear me very well. Your hand is not you. You touch through your hands. You see through your eyes. You speak through your mouth. Are you hearing me? You hear through your ears. You see through your eyes. So don't think that your body is you. That's the reason why a blind man can have vision. A deaf man can still understand things that people say. A dumb man can still understand things, can still pass a message, because his mouth may not be able to speak, but the person inside of him can pass the message through sign, because the person inside is speaking. The person inside of him is speaking. Even though you don't hear the sound, he shows you the sound through signs. A blind man may not see you, but he has dreams. How does a blind man see dreams? Answer this question. You who is pushing this dirty ideology in the world. Tell me, answer me this question. You say you're a good scientist. How does a blind man see dream? How can a deaf man understand what you're saying? Most of the time, we think that we have all the answers because we depend on our body. Forget about the fact that you polish your body and wear that suit, or the color of your body, you're white or you're black or you're brown or you're colored. That is not you. You just live in that body. You live in that body. And that is what the Bible says. The Bible is always right. And from what I'm telling you now, you know I'm right. You can only touch with your hands. You can walk with your legs. You are walking with your legs. Your legs are not the one walking, because your legs are not you. You see through your eyes. Your eyes are not you. That's why even if your eyes are blind, you see darkness, yes, but you can also dream. You can have dreams. When you sleep, you can have dreams, even though you are blind. You're being deceived by science. You're being deceived by these people with wrong ideology. Christianity have it right. God has it right, and it's real. And that's why they're after this, because they are all working for Satan. They are pushing Satan's ideology. If you're working for them on whatever platform you are, and you're listening to me right now, I don't know what platform you are, Facebook, whatever platform you are working, be it even the apps we are using, whatever platform you're working from or working into, and you're watching this message and they told you to block it because it's misinformation. What am I misinforming? If it's misinformation, let it be. I thought you said we have democracy, freedom of speech. Let the message go on. Let people choose for themselves. That's what democracy say, right? Let people choose. This message doesn't harm anybody. It's not a weapon to kill anybody. Let them choose. But you can't do that. You can never do that. You can't do that. You are scared of losing your job. You're scared of losing your job. You're scared of losing your app. You're scared of losing your position. That's why you're pushing all of this ideology with them, which you know is not right. And I've defined it to you to let you understand it's all wrong. Very, very wrong. Very wrong. You know it. All the things they have said, which you pushed it. The COVID vaccine, openly they said, once you get it, you are free from the virus. You were there, you watched it. Is it true? They're twisting their thumbs. You can see science never get it right. And science will never get it right. No matter how much science search, they will never get it. Hear me. The people of old knew science more than this generation. That's what some of you don't understand. Because there are still a lot of mysteries that you see today A lot of findings that you don't understand. Even your science can't understand how those findings came to be, because the people in the past understood science more than you. The fallen angels who taught science to people, the fallen angels who taught sorcery to people, the people they taught to understood science more than you. The people they taught sorcery to understood sorcery more than you. Do you understand me? The people that they taught these things to understood. How many native doctors today can throw their stick and it turn to snake? That's to let you know that the people that the fallen angels taught sorcery to understood it. The Egyptian sorcerers threw their stick and it turned into snake. They were trying to compete with God. Those were people who were taught by fallen angels. And the science now want to control the world, of which they don't even know anything. If in those days science did not control the world, they can't do it. All they are doing will fail. If you are in their ship, if you are in their boat, if you are in their train, sorry, you are heading for a clash. The Bible says by the time they prepare on their peak and they think everything is okay, then destruction is coming. I'm going to stop here. But I want every pastor listening to me to know that Jesus said on that day, I will say to them, depart from me, I don't know you, workers of iniquity. And they will say, we cast out demons in your name. We preached in your name. We win souls in your name. We healed the sick in your name. And Jesus will tell them, depart, I don't know you, workers of iniquity. Why? They did it for themselves. They didn't do it for God. All of you who are preaching that message, what God can do, what God can do, what God can do, what God is going to do, what He's about to do, what He will do for you. Listen, change your message. Start teaching people to know God. Let them have a relationship with God for themselves, and let God do it for them themselves. Let them find out by their relationship. It's only a child who can tell you, I know my mother. Or I know my father. I know what my father can do. I know what my mother can do. A child who knows the parent can tell you that. He doesn't wait for anybody to tell them that this is what your mother can do, this is what your father can do. No, 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 no. They know for themselves. They can tell you, I know what my mother can do. But that is based on the relationship they have with their parents. If you've listened to this message and it reached you, leave me a comment, share the message, like, ring the bell, notification bell. So when I put next message, you'll be the first. Leave a comment, leave a prayer request, say something about it, share it with somebody. God bless you. And I want you to have a very, very wonderful day. Remember, this is Finishing Touches, End Time Messages. God bless you.